Hey, folks! Welcome to the August 2020 Reformation Gun Club online hangout. It has been way too long since we have been together. Thank you for tuning in. For those of you who are watching after the fact, this is a monthly hangout that we do with members of the Reformation Gun Club who are supporters of the podcast and who, as part of their benefits, get access to these live shows. We haven't done one of these in a while, and the reason for that being, of course, that the show kind of took a pause back in June when my house got flooded, and I'll have more about that and how things are going with that later. But it's good to finally get this back together and to get one of these going so we can hang out with the members, and I'll be sending out a link shortly to some of the memberships, and of course the cast, which I really ought to do that now. Let me find let me get the link here. So first off, thank you all for joining us. It's our August 2020 online hangout. If you would like to be a part of this in the future, if you would like to join us for these hangouts going forward, consider joining the Reformation Gun Club. Go to gunclub.armedlutheran.us. Check out all the benefit levels. For as little as $1 a month, you can help keep the show going and be a part of these awesome hangouts and get some other cool benefits, hundreds of hours of exclusive content and lots more. So check it out there. Quick shout out here, wearing the Nicene Creed t-shirt. This and other cool designs can be found at armedlutheran.us/t-shirts. Be sure to check that out as well. And speaking of, let's see, what's coming up this Sunday, August 23rd, we have episode 231 coming, and that is going to be a Clinging to God and Gun show with myself and Pastor Bennett. And we talk a lot about the craziness going on in the country currently. And we also have three or four additional questions from listeners that we'll be answering, and that it's probably another 30 minutes of content is going to be available for members of the Reformation Gun Club later next week. So stay tuned for that. Bear with me just a second while I send out an invitation to Pastor Bennett and the cast so that they can join us. I can remember what I'm doing and find the links here. There we go. And let's see. Come on, Facebook. Let's see here. Sergeant Bill. Send an invite to Sergeant Bill here. Send an invite to Pastor Bennett, who is online currently, and hopefully will join us. And then where's Mia? Let's see if we can find Mia and get her onto the show as well. So bear with me just a moment. I know it's fun watching me try to navigate my way through my my Facebook. And I've got a few updates for you real quick before we get into more of the show. All right, now I've got the invites sent out to everyone. Okay, so in addition to the show coming up, I wanted to give everybody kind of an update on what's going on. For those of you who I alluded to this earlier about why these live shows have been sort of delayed. The house, of course, flooded because of a failed fixture back in June. And we're currently, the family is finally all back together. The whole downstairs was a wreck. And all of my furniture is in storage downstairs. My kitchen cabinets are gone. They have replaced the drywall. Everything's painted. It looks fantastic. We've got new carpet. We're just waiting for some other things like doors and door frames and kitchen cabinets and that sort of stuff. So we've been living in temporary housing, and so didn't really have a good place to do the show for a while. And I'm back at Casa Armed Lutheran in my office. This is just the best place to do it. I had to set up some temporary stuff here because a lot of my furniture and a lot of my office equipment got moved to the new house so I could work. And I had to kind of cobble some things together to be able to use this nice treated space, because the house that we're staying in is simply not suitable for broadcasting or recording. It's too big. It's too echoey. It doesn't have a whole lot of furniture in it. So in any event, things are sort of back on track, and maybe in another month we'll be back in this house, and things will get back to normal. That would be really cool. Unload and Show Clear is on pause currently, my other podcast, and hopefully once we get back into this house, then maybe we can get that show up and running again with more cool interviews and conversations with the people of IDPA. And Dan is with us. Dan, thank you so much for joining us. Good to see you. Hello from Missouri from Facebook user. I can't tell who you are. I know there's a couple or three Missourians in our group, and one of them is our newest member, I believe, Matthew, I think. So I hope whomever you are, thank you so much for joining us and being a part of it. I really do appreciate it. Dan says, I have that shirt. Awesome. It is a cool shirt. I must admit, not to toot my own horn too much, but it's one of my favorites. I do have a couple of updates before we start talking, kind of getting into the meat of the show. I actually have a match to shoot, an IDPA match. Speaking of which, next week is the Texas State IDPA Championship. I haven't pulled a trigger in, wow, I don't even remember the last time. I have been to the range once since the Fall Brawl last year, which was in October. So yeah, not sure whether I'm going to make it to that match, because it would be horrible. But I may try to go just see some people, and it's always a fun time when you can send rounds downrange, right? So I do have something cool I want to show you, a little show and tell here. I got this back today. This is my pride and joy, sort of. I've had this gun for a very, very long time. This is my Glock 34 that when I started shooting competition, I started out in GSSF, the Glock Sports Shooting Foundation. And one of the things that you can win are these certificates that are worth a certain percentage off brand new Glocks. And I won one, and it turned into this, if I could fit it in the camera. I had this, I got this a very long time ago. And it's my favorite. I've stippled the grips myself, but I had our good friends at Salina Gun Shop, David Williams, took this, Cerakoted it to match the magwell at the bottom in titanium gray, sliced some of the, got some aftermarket base pads on my magazines, and he trimmed those down about a quarter of an inch, maybe. It would fit in the box, the IDPA box before. I just wanted to make sure that it would, that we had some room to spare. So he trimmed those down, Cerakoted the base plates, and picked all that up today. The barrel is actually plastic. Let's see if I can show you. This is a training barrel from Morgan Timing Systems. I'd never heard of them before, and I found them in a Google search. I wanted something where I could do where I could practice and be safer than just using dummy rounds. Anyway, before I get onto that, if you are in North Texas and you have an interest in firearms, firearm accessories, Cerakote, and lots more, custom engraving, check out SalinaGunshop.com. Now back to this thing, the Morgan Timing Barrel. I use dummy rounds to simulate, to practice my reloads and all that kind of thing. I use regular magazines, and I wanted something that would give me another level of safety and security when I'm doing dry fire, so that there's absolutely no chance that I put a live round in this gun when I'm dry firing. This will not chamber a round. It is polymer, and it's made to simulate the barrel. You can't see it, but you can't see there, but there's a space to accept for the firing pin, and there's absolutely no way to chamber a live round. So that's why I got it. And it's really cool. $19, and it shipped really quick. Morgan Timing Systems. Look it up on Google, and pretty cool. They have them for lots of different guns, lots of different models. Set that over here. Okay. The pistol packing Padre is with us. How are you, sir?
Doing good. How are you?
I can't hear you. Oh, great. Whoops. Let's turn the mic on. Nope, he's muted now. Why are you? Nope, you're muted. We had this. Let me unmute your mic. Can't unmute the guest. Their mic isn't connected, it says.
Hey, there we go.
Huh.
Can you hear me now?
Cool t-shirt. Very cool.
Thanks.
We're doing pantomime.
It is on.
I can't do ASC. Or ASL, not ASC. Good Lord. My friend Chris Schmid will kill me for doing that. I cannot hear you. I don't know what's going on with the mic. It says your mic is not connected. And we had all kinds of fun and interesting problems when we were.
This is really strange.
So this may be a continuation of that. We got some new comments.
So you can't hear me at all?
Oh, wait. I barely hear you.
Barely. Hold on. Let me.
Where the sound is coming from, but I can barely hear you. Let me see. You are not going back through.
Can you hear me now? I just heard something.
I can barely hear. Yes, I can sort of hear you.
It's like really bad cell phone commercial.
It's really faint. That's really strange. Let's see. Try now.
Oh. Let's see.
No, still nothing. Darn it.
Let's try this. Hold on. Audio.
And the weird thing is I think I can hear you over my. All right, it might be. Hang on a second. Let's go to our audio system preferences. I don't know why this thing resets my audio every stinking time I fire it up. Output is USB audio device. Now let's try it.
Can you hear me?
I can. Entirely my fault. Folks. I can. Entirely my fault, folks. It's my this MacBook. For some reason, every time I fire it up, it changes my audio settings. It does not remember the audio settings. And Dan said he could hear you. I just couldn't. So that should be an interesting couple of minutes of podcast history. That should be awesome.
Oh, yeah. If I clicked on comments instead of private chat, I would have seen that he could hear me. So hi to you too, Dan. And this is since you commented on my shirt, if you join the Reformation Gun Club, maybe some of you think that we should be paying you $5 a month. But if you pay us $5 a month, you can get shirts like this. You can get cool mugs like this.
Ooh.
So
frosty beverage not included.
Yes. Frosty beverage not included. Tonight's beverage of choice is
Mad Butcher IPA.
Mad Butcher from the Mankato Brewery.
Ah, nice.
Tough.
Unfortunately, I'm having to do water. Part of the problem with having this, having to come over here and record, is that I have to drive home afterwards. I'm not at home anymore, so I can't imbibe and enjoy the online happy hour. So
that's a bummer, man.
So spill one for me.
I won't spill it because that would be a sin, but
yes,
I'll pass it through my kidneys first if that makes you feel better.
There we go. Luke is with us. Luke, thank you so much for joining us. Good to see you. Let's see. There was a couple of things I wanted to talk about. I wanted to see what have you been up to? I mean, we haven't been together in forever, so chime in on your comments. What have you been doing lately since we last got together? What's new? We of course, you all know what's been going on with me. Has anybody been watching the Democrat National Comedy Show that's been going on this week? Joe Biden. Did you see where Joe Biden came out? His wife did a little intro thing for him at a school, in a schoolroom, and he came out and said, "Hi, I'm Joe Biden's husband."
To me, it sounded like he could have said Jill Biden.
I had to go back and listen twice because I thought maybe.
At least this time he didn't put her finger in his mouth.
Oh dear Lord, yeah, that was bad. That was bad. Oh yeah, we joked when we were recording yesterday for episode 231 that if only they could like just keep the convention going for until the election, there would be no way Donald Trump would lose. It would just be an absolute landslide.
They might even have enough of a supermajority to repeal the NFA. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. Yep. Absolute comedy gold watching them. I have no interest in listening to it because I know what they're going to say. And it's been, what did Mark Meadows describe as? It was 4 days of complaining about, trying to sell a product that nobody wants to buy. That's that's how he described it.
That sounds about right.
An infomercial for a product that nobody wants to buy.
You had the Democrats that complained about interrogation methods, and maybe if they just played it nonstop in Guantanamo Bay, everybody would spill their guts.
Yeah, that'd be cruel and unusual. I'm sure the Supreme Court would put a stop to that post-haste. Have you been watching any sports are back? Have you been taking in any of the return to play stuff? I know basketball and baseball and hockey and racing are all back at it.
I followed the Chicago Cubs.
I'm sorry.
Actually, they're doing really good so far this year. So it's the only redeeming quality I think about the city of Chicago, that and deep dish pizza. I mean, that's about the only two good things that the city of Chicago has going for it. But no, what I've been up to, this is not a secret that I'd like to share willingly because then I'll have more friends than I need. I've been in the process this past week of refurbishing close to 50 different computers for the kids' school. So, it's been fun.
That's a lot of work. And speaking of school, my daughter started this week, went back to public school here in Texas, and nobody died. So
that's a good thing. I mean, it's if everything the media has said would come true, then we'd all be dead.
I'm shocked that nobody's dead yet. I mean, the way the media has portrayed this and the way the national teachers unions have have fought against it. Oh man, that looks so good. It's been.
I'm sorry. I feel about that much guilty.
I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, I thought the plan that our school system put together, and I don't know how other schools are doing it, and I'm sure that there are school systems that are not going to handle this very well. But our school system has done a fantastic job with planning it and preparing for it and keeping parents up to date on what the plans are and giving them options. They decided that they would let parents choose. Do you want to do online? Do you want to do in person? And whatever you choose after the first 9 weeks, you can change. And something like 80% of parents said, nope, my kids are going back to school.
Yeah, here, our school's opening. There was a federation of all the parochial and private schools within Minnesota, and they basically flipped the bird to the governor. They said, our schools are going to open whether you like it or not, because we are not public schools, so we do not fall under your jurisdiction. And it was, it seemed like the governor was going to come out and say, okay, no one can go back to school, that schools are shut down, at least for the first part of the year. And that's what the rumor was that he was going to do, because he's deep in the pockets of the teachers' unions. But surprisingly, even though his announcement was delayed by almost a month, he came out and said each individual school district can make their decision. So our kids, the school, that they have to wear their face diaper when they're going in and out of the building. But once they get to the classroom, once they're sitting at the desks, they can take it off. So,
yeah. And that's one of the dumbest things. I mean, how silly does it feel to wear a face mask and walk into a restaurant and then immediately take it off? Like, you have it on for 10 seconds and then you sit down and it's okay. Suddenly you're safe. Like, there's this invisible anti-COVID force field around your table when you sit down. But walking
like
to your table is deadly.
Kind of like when you go to a BLM demonstration, right?
Right.
Yeah, and if you choke on your chili cheese fries and you're coughing and hacking in the restaurant and you've got the Rona, no one's going to get it, obviously, because you're safe, right?
Clearly, yeah, totally. Yeah, and it doesn't. What did Luke say? It doesn't filter the garbage that's coming out in word form. That's true. That's very true. I posted a picture. My daughter started back to volleyball recently, and she's been playing. I took her to practice or to a training camp the other day, and they required you to wear your mask. But as soon as the kids got on the court, it was totally fine to take the mask off. Like, what? But I had to keep mine on. And I posted a picture on Facebook of the two of us, and I'm sure you could probably sense the smirk underneath the mask. I mean, my daughter looked happy and excited, and even with the mask on, you could still see in the picture. I looked at it afterwards. I was like, I don't look as happy to be there as you might think.
Yeah, that kind of seemed to be the case.
Yeah. Let's see. Yes, exactly right, Dan. It is about control and not safety. None of it makes sense. I mean, there's no consistency in the rules and no logic in it. It doesn't make any sense. We're being governed by fear, and irrational fear at that. And so really all we're doing is engaging in safety theater. You know, we're putting these things on to make other people feel better, or in some cases to make yourself feel better and give yourself this false sense of safety. I mean, you see the guys driving around. I saw a picture of a guy here in Texas. In Texas, you don't have to wear a helmet to ride a motorcycle. Guy was riding a motorcycle with no helmet, but he had a mask on.
Stupid. My mother-in-law was a nurse for many, many years, and at one point she was an ER nurse early in her career. They referred to motorcyclists who didn't wear helmets as organ donors.
We got lots of them here in Texas. Yep. Getting back to the sports thing, have you noticed I saw, the major leagues all got back to play recently, and you talked about the Cubs. Did you notice the sort of woke BLM stuff early on, or are they still doing that? I'm not a baseball fan. I hate baseball, but I did notice videos and pictures of kneeling and the BLM logo on the mound and all that kind of stuff. Is that still an issue?
I'm not watching the games. I'm listening to them. So
Gotcha.
from
You're
what I
spared all of
understand,
that.
yeah. For opening day, I think MLB required the pitcher's mound to have that the pad was replaced with Black Lives Matter. One nice thing is that the Cubs on their social media haven't been force feeding everyone Black Lives Matter garbage, because I think the Cubs, it's owned by a family that is good friends with Donald Trump. So perhaps that's why.
That
who
helps.
knows? Which is surprising. Chicago, city of Chicago, they're not really. I wouldn't call them conservative. More like crony capitalists. But
Gotcha.
yeah.
But they also probably figure, like Michael Jordan said, half your audience, if you take a stand politically, you lose half your fans or half your audience. So smart not to get involved. I did notice that both NBA and MLB's ratings kind of plunged after opening day because of all of the kneeling and all of the overt, in your face Black Lives Matter stuff.
Yeah. Well, soccer ratings too. I mean, but then again, soccer ratings are so low, no one would notice if they plunged.
Who watches? To be honest, that's true. Yeah.
Oh, my daughter and my in-laws. So,
well, right here in Texas, our own beloved Dallas FC. They play right down the road from me in Frisco. They hosted the Nashville Soccer Club for a game, match, whatever they call it. And they all knelt. They all got down on a knee, and some of them were raising the fist during the national anthem, and the fans booed. So, and they were shocked. They were absolutely shocked that fans would do this. How could they do this? We planned this out. We all discussed it. We agreed. Millions of people agree with us. Why? It's despicable that fans would boo us. Well, you're in Texas. You maybe should have thought about that first.
Well, and when you live your life in an intellectual vacuum and think that your opinion is the only right opinion and no one else would dare say anything contrary, you go through life with such a myopic point of view, and it's really sad.
Yeah, and sports used to be a great escape for people. It was an opportunity for us to kind of turn off the bad stuff that was going on in the world and sit down and just enjoy the spirit of competition and cheer for the hometown team. And now even that has become politicized to the point that it's unwatchable. It's another reason that I love hockey, by the way. I've been watching tons of hockey, and I actually love the way that hockey came back. Just absolutely, 4 to 6 games a day, nonstop. It's been fantastic. There was a little bit of kneeling at the beginning because there are some, but their focus has not been Black Lives Matter as a movement, the BLM incorporated. It's been focused on racism because there have been some issues with racism in junior hockey in Canada and in some parts of the US. And it was mentioned in like 2 games during what they called the preseason, when they were doing exhibition games and the return to play. And after that, nothing. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, I've really never got interested in hockey, so who knows? Maybe one of these days I'll become a believer. But
well, the Minnesota Wild, one of the members who knelt at the beginning of the return to play, was from the Minnesota Wild, and the Wild got knocked out in the play-in round, so they never even made it to the playoffs. So,
serves them right.
That's what happens.
See, I've always felt soccer is basically, or, I mean, no, I'm sorry, hockey is basically soccer on ice. That's so.
Yeah. The big difference, though, is you don't got guys faking their injuries, and they are
I was just gonna
absolutely
say that.
crushing each other. And so
That's what I was. That's the one exception is that you don't have these beta males rolling around holding their shins, faking an injury just so that it'll benefit their team.
You got guys with crooked noses and missing teeth and spitting chiclets, as they call it.
Yeah. That's one thing for sure you got to say about hockey. Those are real men. They're not soy boys.
They are taking a beating every game, and it's not like it's not like pro basketball or pro football where you complain about, oh, I've got a toenail injury and I'm out for 2 games. I mean, these guys are playing with broken arms and all kinds of stuff, and it's really quite amazing.
True story. I mean, because you get some of that in Major League Baseball too. I remember distinctly back when I first started following the Chicago Cubs that Sammy Sosa, who was, he was a big name in hitting back in the late 90s and early 2000s. He once sneezed and threw out his back and was gone for several weeks of the season. So
that's what all the roids will do to you. He was part of that roid scandal, wasn't he? Him and Mark McGwire, and
I don't think he was ever proven to be involved in that.
But there was that one year where they were just like crushing ridiculous numbers of home runs, and McGwire and Canseco and Bonds and Sosa were just like pelting 60, 70 home runs every year. And they were like, wait a minute, what's going on?
Yeah,
It's not right. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I can't get into baseball. It's just like watching paint dry for me. I've got to have a little more action than that. But anyway, enough about that. Let's get a couple of the members in here. Dan and Luke are being very kind and very patient, and I'm going to post. Let's see here. I am going to post in the comments. I don't know whether they can see it, so let me see here. I bet they can. Can't post comments to some destinations. I've never tried this. I'm going to send out a chat message to everyone. And YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, you won't get this. But if you're watching on Facebook, check the comments there. And there is a link if you would like to join in for the last 25 minutes or so of the show and tell us what you guys have been up to. One of the things I thought I would do just for funs. So we're very serious, of course. We never laugh. We are always very serious during the show. And so what I thought I would do is I got these things called, I can never figure out where the camera is. They're called pod decks. This was made by a guy named Travis Brown, and the idea was that to create these like conversation starter things for podcasters. It's a hokey idea because if you can't come up with questions, why are you having a podcast? But at the same time, I thought it might be kind of interesting just to see what these are, what's in them. And so I thought I'd break these out and we'd answer some questions just for funsies, because some of these are kind of interesting. Some of them are stupid, but some of them are fun. So let's see. And we'll throw this out to whoever's watching as well. I'm going to mix them up. Just so they're random. And what's one bad habit you are trying to get rid of? Oh God.
Oh, overeating.
Yep.
That's probably the one thing. I have been increasing my my activity level. I finally broke down and bought a decent fitness tracker, and that's when you have those daily goals. Yeah, Garmin VivoActive 3. I love it.
Ah, Very cool. I also got a fitness. I don't know where I put it. I took it off because it's hotter than. One of the things about coming over here to do the show is that the thermostat is in my daughter's room, and I put locks on all the doors up here because we're not home, and I packed away some of the valuables in the bedrooms, things that we wouldn't want the guys who are working on the house to get a hold of. And so the thermostat's locked in my daughter's room, and it's hotter than a whore in church in here. It's just, but where was I going with that? So yeah, one bad habit.
Fitness tracker.
My fitness tracker. Yes. I took it off because it's so hot, but I got one as well, and I have the same issue as you. I have absolutely no control with when my wife fixes dinner and there's extras. It's like, should I or shouldn't I? And that's the one temptation that I can't seem to overcome.
I got room for a little more.
I got exactly. So I've done very similar to you. I've gotten a fitness tracker, and I've been trying to lift some weights and I bought an exercise bike, and I've been doing some of that. So I'm trying to get myself back in shape because COVID has. I can't blame it on COVID. It's just me.
Sure, you can. Everybody else blames your problems on COVID.
COVID made it worse. Let's just put it that way. It was bad enough already. One book that belongs on everyone's bookshelf. I think we know how we will answer that question.
I would say the Lutheran Confessions.
Yes, that's good.
No, the Bible, obviously.
The Bible, obviously. If you want to say two books, well, it doesn't say one, so let's go with the Bible and the Book of Concord. How about that?
Yeah, I concur.
You have $100,000 and you have to donate or create a charity. What do you do? I got to create a charity. I know nobody's got time for that.
My church is a charity, so
exactly.
I'll just, hey, I'll give you this money in exchange for a nice pay raise.
There you go. Perfect. Our church is we've got kind of a storefront. We're a mission church, and so yeah, I would donate to the building fund so we can actually get our own place.
Nice. How close are you guys to getting your own sanctuary?
I don't stay for voters meetings, so I have no idea.
Oh.
I've gotten out of church politics. I used to be the vice president, and then the last year I was in North Carolina, I was the president of our congregation, and I don't want any part of church politics anymore. It was not fun.
See, and I hear these horror stories about voters meetings, and our voters meetings, they maybe last half an hour at most, and
oh God.
We just get through the agenda, and I mean there's usually never any conflict that's discussed.
And I long for that. The church that I was a member of had a group of longtime members whose families, their fathers and grandfathers, had founded the church. And sadly, they were of the opinion that this was their church. And so they were on the church boards, and they were elders, and they basically ran the church treasury the way they wanted to. As they got older and younger members joined the church, and younger members joined the committees, and younger members like myself became elders, they didn't like the direction that we were taking the church, and they didn't like some of the decisions about the way we spent money. And so there was a bit of conflict in the church about how things were being done. And that boiled over into near fisticuffs at one voters meeting. It boiled over into foul language occasionally.
Ooh.
Yes, and it boiled over into one member of that group being excommunicated. Actually, no, I take that back. We excommunicated 4 people.
Wow.
One of them did, God be praised, she did return to repentance and was readmitted to the sacrament. The others quit the church and then started encouraging others to go with them.
Oof.
Yes, and started spreading bad rumors about the pastor and things of this nature. So it was very ugly, and I was an elder at the time and had to deal with a lot of this stuff, and it was not fun, and I just, that soured me on church politics from there forward. And I'm sure it's not like I swear, I pray that it's not like that at lots of other churches, but that was horrible, and I cannot imagine what it must have been like for the pastor.
I'm sure he had bleeding ulcers by that point. My gosh.
Yeah, it was pretty horrible, and the rumors that were being spread, and the encouraging people to quit and to stop giving to the church, and it was just wicked. And
as much as I'm not a big fan of the whole, remember when What Would Jesus Do was becoming a big thing back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And I was never really a big fan of that, because it's like, what would Jesus do? Well, he wouldn't ever sin, and he'd die for your transgressions. And
right.
I'm not capable of those things, so
not something I can do.
But that's if anybody watching this, if your congregation has any issues like this, just remind people, Jesus is kind of aware of your behavior right now. It's maybe not the "What would Jesus do" slogan, but Jesus is watching slogan.
Right.
And yeah, you think Jesus is terribly impressed by your behavior right now?
Probably not.
There was some the congregation where I served as vicar. They had some, and it always came down to money. And it seemed that that's the one issue that people fight about more than anything in churches. And it's sad. It really is. Jesus did say you cannot serve God and mammon. And when you are getting so worked up about how the way money is spent in the church, and that's what you're fighting over, you're serving mammon instead of God.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And it was so it basically soured me on the whole church. And I've been asked to serve my current church, and I'm torn. I would love to do it. I would a part of me would like to be involved in that at that level again, but another part of me is like, oh, I don't want to be in the middle of that again, and conversations about how we're spending money. Just tell me where the money's going. Let me vote on it. I'm good. Dan says, as a member of the elder board at my church, I wish we could get through a meeting without any conflict. I hear you, Dan. That was you just prayed extra hard, every month before the voters meeting, praying that this one would go smoothly and we could get out of there in 15 minutes. And inevitably that never worked. There was usually one or two of them who would sit in the back and make trouble.
I've been at this congregation now for 15 years. We have quarterly voters meetings, so only 4 times a year, 5 times if you count the election meeting that happens once a year. And I can count maybe 4 or 5 of those meetings where there was a lot of tension. But gosh, yeah, it breaks my heart, and also makes me very grateful when I hear about churches that are having these kinds of conflicts, because there's one guy that on a few occasions has basically said, well, we're having money troubles and pastor needs to take a call, and we'll just get some old guy to fill the vacancy. And it's like, what kills churches? When they don't have a pastor, when they don't have a shepherd.
Yep.
But he's made it clear that he doesn't care too much for me in the past, but it seems that he's changed. He's really softened
Coming
over the
around.
years. So yeah. I mean, it's
15 years. You finally worn him down.
yeah. It's maybe now he just will tolerate me instead of disliking me. It's
Right.
a step in the right direction.
Yeah, it's certainly better than open hatred. Yeah, we did have that kind of thing too, where the last remaining member of that group who was still an elder, we had a meeting with this group, and they suggested that we don't need a pastor. We can just take turns and the elders can preach. And it was just like, what? Are you out of your mind? What are you talking about?
The Augsburg Confession, I want to say it's Article 14, talks about no one preaching or teaching unless they are properly called.
Mm-hmm.
Christ Jesus, our Lord and Savior, called his apostles to be the first pastors of the New Testament church. He sent them out to preach, teach, and administer the sacraments. And let's just have the country club run the church, more or less.
Right. Yeah, that's the direction it was headed, and fortunately they just got fed up and quit, and they made it easier for us. It was like they could have stuck around and really made it difficult, but they decided, and I think that was where it all began. They were like, "Oh, I'm not messing with this. You're going to do all this stuff. I'm going to quit as an elder." And we were like, "Okay, cool. See you later." That made it easier for us to make the decisions that needed to be made and to actually start reforming things. And then they were like, "Oh, wait, now I have no control over anything anymore." So that's when the trouble really started.
Can you pull up Dan's most recent comment there?
Yes.
Yes, this is definitely true. And the reason this is true is because sometimes your pastor can't be there for whatever reason.
Right.
There have been 2 Sundays in the last 15 years. Other Sundays I had it scheduled for someone to be there, but one was after I had hip surgery, and the other, late Saturday night, I just started vomiting. It was horrible, and had to have an elder read the sermon. And so it's, and the nice thing about being an elder is because you're not the pastor, no one's going to expect you to knock it out of the park. I mean, if you want to use a baseball analogy, they're not going to expect a home run. If you get on base by being hit by a pitch, that's okay.
That's all right.
So
they're not going to boo you and throw stuff on the field, right?
Yes. And the role of an elder in the church is to be both a leader and a servant. That you're responsible for overseeing the pastor and the spiritual care of the church. Sometimes it happens where the elders are responsible for keeping their pastor in line because pastors are sinners, and sometimes they can get into some bad habits. So it's yes, it is necessary though to have a pastor.
Absolutely.
If you see any church when they go through an extended vacancy, right now the church that I've been serving as vacancy pastor for the last, I think it's 4 years now, they're in a position where they cannot afford their own pastor, right. And sadly they've declined to the point where they cannot continue going on, and so they've decided that they're going to close within the next. I'm trying to get them through 8 months because that's when Lent. That's after Lent, in the season of Easter. So we'll see what happens.
Right. Well, hopefully, the majority of those folks will come and join St. John's in Willow Creek.
Yes, that there's been quite a few that have told me that's exactly what they'll do.
Oh my gosh! All right, so let's see. Let me find another fun question here. Definitely not going to ask that one. If you had to delete all but 3 apps from your smartphone, which ones would you keep?
Does this include the built-in apps? Because
Uh,
like the phone app and the messenger app
no,
are
let's not
kind
count
of
the.
okay.
Yeah, because you got to have those. You can't delete them.
I'd have to keep my podcast app. That would be a
Which one do you
must.
use?
I use an older app called Dog Catcher. And it was an app that I paid for probably 10 years ago when I had my first Android smartphone. And the nice thing about it is it lets me adjust the speed at to which I listen to podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So most podcasts I listen to at like 1.7 speed, so I can get through an hour podcast in 40 minutes. Unless it's Ben Shapiro, then I have to.
I started to say, can you slow down Ben Shapiro?
You can, and it's. I actually listen to Ben Shapiro usually at 1.5 speed, so I do listen.
He's already at 1.5 speed. I don't know.
My kids don't understand it. My wife doesn't understand it, but I'm able to get it all in. So it must be, this happened once when I was in seminary. I had a class on preaching, and I grew up in Southern California. People talk fast, and one guy said, you talk way too fast. And I said, the problem isn't that I talk too fast, is that you listen too slow. So maybe
catcher.
Dog Catcher. And I like it. Just about anything that you can find on any podcast service you can find on that app. And it's not an expensive app. I listened to I think it was the free version, and there's added features that you got with the unlocked version. So I paid a few bucks for it. And
so I've got there. One of the cards in here was what talent your let's see, it was something about your favorite talent, or what's your greatest talent. So yours is understanding Ben Shapiro at 1.5 speed,
I guess. Yeah.
I can't understand him. I watch him. I watch the videos on YouTube, and my wife will walk in the room. She's like, I can't understand what he's talking about. I was like, well, I catch every third word, so I kind of get the gist. All right,
your subconscious fills in the rest of the blanks, right?
Yeah, you kind of figure out where he's going. All right, Dan is with us for the last few minutes.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, Dan, how are you?
I'm good.
Awesome.
How you doing, guys?
We are good.
Excellent. Hey, and Dan, sympathies to you and your family on the loss of your mother.
Oh, thank you. It wasn't terribly unexpected, but It's never fun.
Never fun. Calroy is with us too, and I have not gotten a chance to talk to Calroy before. And let me see if we can get him unmuted and get him in the stream here. Calroy, how are you, sir?
I think this is the first stream I've actually watched. I was getting ready for bed, and I checked my emails, and I saw the invite, and I'm like, well, it's just me tonight, so let's do that.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you for your support. So, hey, what's the one bad habit you're trying to get rid of?
One bad habit. Ooh, that's a tough one. I have a lot of bad habits I need to get rid of, and one of them is not going to the gym often enough, which I was doing very well on until the whole Wu flu thing.
Yeah.
Because I would go right after work.
Oh, and now you don't go to work, so you can't go to
that essential.
Dan, how about you?
One thing bad habit?
One bad habit.
Oh, God, there's so many of them that I can pick from. Not telling my wife I love her enough.
There you go.
I could tell her every day, and it's still not enough. So I need to do it more often.
Tell me about the guitar behind you.
Which one? I have a couple of basses.
Oh, I see. Okay, I see one. I can't tell what it is. It's got kind of an orange or yellow and black crackle finish. Looks really cool.
Yes, that's a 5-string that I borrowed from a friend of mine because I saw it at his house and he said, "Oh, this is a really great bass." I said, "I'd love to try it." He threw it in my car. So
Nice.
And it's really fun. It's different from my regular bass. It's faster to play, and it's just fun.
Very cool. It's one thing I used to play guitar in college, and I sold all of my gear, and it's one of my great regrets that I never kept all my stuff, and I've thought, maybe one day I'll pick up another guitar and give it a try, but my fingers just don't work like they used to. At 50, I can't. Yeah.
Well, I'm 55 and I'm on worship team this weekend, so I'll be on stage.
Gotcha. All right. So what have you guys been doing during the lockdown and all the craziness? Calroy, you're not essential enough, but so what have you been what have you been occupying your time with?
Video games.
Ooh,
I've been
awesome.
Which ones?
Since 1980.
What's your favorite?
I don't really have a favorite. I like the RPGs. I've been playing a lot of Skyrim. I don't know why, but I just kind of fell away from the shooters.
I don't have the twitch reflex for that stuff anymore. I can't do the first-person shooters anymore.
I had friends with broad shoulders, and they would just carry me through match after match.
The one family of games that I have really enjoyed are the Wolfenstein series.
Ooh,
and it's not. I never played much of the multiplayer online stuff. I did a little World of Warcraft years ago, but they have some of the newer Wolfenstein ones are just incredible with the graphics and the gameplay and the storyline. They somehow managed to bring that game into the future as if you've seen the series Man in the High Castle, with the concept that the Nazis won the war and
right.
And now BJ Blazkowicz is still killing Nazi scum in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
Now, see, Wolfenstein was one of the first games I ever played, and it was on a teletype. You had to connect to the local college computer.
Oh gosh!
And yeah, it was a little different than today.
Was that Wolfenstein 3D, or was there one that predated that?
Oh no, it was 2D. It was.
I started to say they weren't 3D back then.
Okay.
They weren't, but they said 3D on it.
Right.
Yeah.
No, there weren't monitors involved.
Gotcha.
Wow.
So
I remember those, but I never got to play on those.
That was early 80s.
Yeah. We loaded their games on cassette tapes.
There you go.
I found my Commodore 64 the other day, and there was when I was back in North Carolina, my Commodore 64 in the original box with the big gigantic floppy drive, and I brought them back to Texas with me.
Nice.
Thought I would try to hook those up and see if I could get those working again. What happened to my audio? Now I can't hear myself.
I can hear you.
Okay, so you can hear me.
You're coming through, yeah.
What have I done to my... Oh, I must have a short in my... awesome.
When you're touching stuff, you can hear some static.
Yeah, I got a short in that jack where my headphone goes in. Nice. I've been playing... Let's see, what have I been playing? I'm still playing The Witcher 3. And I can't believe it's 5 years since that came out, and it's still fantastic.
The television show, I wasn't going to watch it. There were issues with their casting. And then I watched an interview with Henry Cavill, who's playing The Witcher.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, when he found out there was going to be a show, he wanted to do it because he just spent 3 months playing Witcher 3.
Really?
Yep.
That's cool.
He almost missed getting the part of Superman because he didn't answer the phone because he was playing World of Warcraft.
That's so cool.
And I
Hey,
said,
what's
well,
more important?
I gotta watch it because this nerd is doing it, which means he loves the source material.
Right.
So maybe it's going to be better than I thought, and it was better than I thought.
It was. I binge read all 8 of the books that's one of the things that COVID allowed me to do. Everything slowed down and I was able to catch up on a bunch of reading, and I blew through those books. They were fantastic. And I was really surprised at how well the show stuck to the source material. The casting is a little weird at times.
Jarring in some cases.
Yes, but the story, with a couple of minor exceptions, has been very, very faithful to the original source material.
The time jumping, I don't like that.
That was weird. There's a good set of books. and a new one coming. I've got to get that finished up, and
oh shoot, I just realized I forgot to send you my contribution for the apologetics book.
Oh no.
Oh, that's one I don't have.
That one is still in edit. We're still editing, and I'm waiting for Pastor Bennett's submission.
You can blame this guy.
But no,
I completely forgot. I even put it on my calendar, and I completely forgot.
I can't let you take the blame, because I've been a little part of with everything that's been going on. The editing has been a little slower than I had hoped, and
You've
then
had things going on.
Yeah, just a few. What was the joke that you threw at me yesterday? My favorite. My
oh
favorite...
yeah, your favorite classic rock band is The Doors.
I don't know whether you guys saw the post where the door company delivered my doors to the backyard. And then we had a rainstorm, and it blew them all out in the yard and soaked them and destroyed them.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. That was fantastic.
You're just having all kinds of fun.
2020 just can't get over with fast enough. Really. So I've got some editing to do, and we had some pastors who had committed to take part, and then had some other things happen and weren't able to, some family issues and some other things that they had to bow out. So the book is going to be missing some of my original planned content. So I've the good thing about that, though, is I have a volume 2 already in the works, with new source material that hasn't actually been written yet. So, hopefully, gonna have all of that edited and ready for probably October, November, and just in time for Christmas gift giving.
Nice.
Also, have some plans for changes to the gun club, to the way the whole membership thing works. I don't know whether you guys have seen the news about the sort of the legal issues with Patreon. So I've got some reservations about maintaining our presence on that platform because of the potential for financial issues that they've got, and their proclivity for deplatforming conservative voices, which
is
what got them into that trouble.
Yeah, exactly right. So, and we just, as you know, don't shy away from speaking the truth, and
it's what we're supposed to do, right?
Yeah. So we don't sugarcoat anything, and we tend to poke fun at the wrong people. And if somebody at Patreon takes close enough notice of that, yeah, we'll be right there with Sargon of Akkad and Delora Southern and be deplatformed pretty quick.
Yeah.
So I'm working on a homegrown solution. I've got some testing to do. The content is moving over to Libsyn, and the front end is the part that's going to be changing, and but it will be completely under our control, and so hopefully in the next month that will roll out, and I'll probably be reaching out for guinea pigs to test it.
Well, I'll sign up. Just tell me where to send it.
Okay, good deal.
Me too.
All right, thank you both. Cool. Well, it's 10 o'clock Central Time. I'm not sure where you guys are. Oh, Dan, you're out in the West Coast, and Calroy, are you in California?
I am in the Mojave Desert, 108 degrees today.
Oh,
it's a cool day.
You know what? It was 111 the day before that. And 120.
oh my!
My buddy Spencer in Nevada, he beats me by several degrees every day, I'd say.
But it's a dry heat, right?
Yeah.
No.
Right.
It usually is, but apparently we're getting all this cloud cover from some storm somewhere, and my swamp cooler has not been as efficient as it usually is.
Oh, you got a
Corona
swamp cooler?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. See, I grew up in, do you know where Sylmar is?
Yeah.
I grew up in Sylmar. I jokingly call it the armpit of the universe. And it's funny because it's even more of a crap hole now than it was when I left.
You've never been to Seattle.
Yeah, you guys have the Chaz there, don't you?
I don't know. They're hard to find these days.
No, you could move up here to Seattle. It's cooler. I'm like, no, that's
for the heat though. My parents, the central air quit working when I was about 10 years old. So you get those summer days. The hottest day I remember for Sylmar, it was 117 degrees, and that entire week it didn't get below 110 during the day, and no air conditioning. So you basically slept in your boxers, and it's it didn't get below 100 at night at nighttime. So what's that?
Crazy people settled this land 100 years ago.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine what that must have been like.
I have a basement.
Oh, you do?
That's where I'm at.
It's a hole in the ground. There's no concrete or anything, but some of the older houses out here have these dugout basements where the miners would sleep during the day when they were on night shift.
Oh, wow.
I live next to the Borax mine, 20 Mule Team.
Oh, wow.
Death Valley days.
God,
I'm sitting here in my office. It's 69 degrees year round, all the time.
Underground.
Doesn't matter how hot. Yeah, underground.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know whether you guys heard. I was talking about how I managed to forget to bring the key to my daughter's room where the thermostat is for upstairs here. And yeah, it's hotter than a 4-ball monkey in this house right now. I can't get the air moving fast enough.
Sweating like a whore in church, huh?
That's right. That's right. Now to be careful, there's probably some whores lobby that's going to protest about this show.
Yeah.
That would be fun to see.
Have you seen that nasty, horrible video? By
Which one?
Cardi B, the WAP.
Oh,
there's some whores in this house.
I can't watch.
Oh, I heard some of the video or some of the audio on one of the podcasts, and so I just wanted to see how terrible it was, and I could. Gosh, that's just disgusting.
Yeah,
I saw a couple of snippets and heard a couple words from a YouTube commentator. I don't remember which one.
Yeah,
could have been anybody.
Yeah, but women's empowerment, right?
Right.
Wow.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't like them before that.
Yeah, I'm continually amazed at how coarse the culture has become. Just today I took my mom's car to somehow we managed to drive her car up from North Carolina to Texas with a separated tread on one of her tires. And by the time it got here, the car was like driving in the ditch. You had to fight the steering wheel the whole way. So I went to pick it up. They had fixed it, and I went to pick it up today. And in the waiting room at this is a national chain of tire places. They had the TV in the waiting area, and I don't remember what the network was, but it was AXS, which I don't know what that is, but it was some sort of a music thing behind the scenes of some concert, and I lost count of the F-bombs and a couple of MF bombs, and the manager's standing there, and there's elderly people sitting in the waiting area, and nobody even flinched. And I looked at the manager and I said, "Oh," and he didn't even notice. And I was just like, okay, it's become so common that nobody even notices it anymore.
You know what they notice?
That's really sad.
When people don't cuss.
Oh, that's sad.
What's wrong with you? You're weird.
Well, okay, so I was in the Air Force for a lot of years. GIs cuss. They cuss all the time.
Right?
Really?
And not creatively. All right. You can cuss in a really creative way that makes people turn their head saying, what? But there was an older man, and he told me, don't cuss. And I was young, so I was like, okay. He goes, no, you don't understand. Don't cuss until you really need to, and everybody will stop and listen to you. And
Okay.
if you're the guy on a job site who never cusses and you suddenly cuss, everybody stops.
Everybody stops.
Right? Yeah. Holy cow, it must be bad if he, right?
Really? No, truly.
No, that makes sense.
No, that does make sense.
Yeah.
It is, however, very difficult not to cuss when
not-
you're in an environment where everyone cusses, including the young ladies,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
That still freaks me out.
We had
I worked in Hollywood for a brief time at a Hollywood studio lot. And yeah, when you're around, when you're in that kind of environment, it's hard not to. But also when the guy uses the F-bomb every third word, it's like, I was sitting at a Taco Bell one day, and there is these three guys sitting there, and I'm there with my wife and kids, and I was like, hey, you mind toning down the language here? I'm sitting here with my kids. And the guy was like, oh, I'm sorry. It's like, he didn't even realize he was doing it.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, that we had a and I think it's particularly prevalent among younger 20 somethings. I'm a member of the board of directors for the Self-Defense Radio Network, and we were considering some new shows. And one of the things that we have to do as members of the board is to listen to enough episodes of the show to get a feel for whether or not they're good fit for the network. And I couldn't get through this one. I don't remember the name of the podcast, and I'm not gonna mention it even if I could remember it. But it was three younger guys, and I think a couple at least were probably former military, probably in their mid to late 20s. And the intro to the show, like we do our little intro at the beginning of Armed Lutheran Radio, where it's us back and forth and kind of laughing about stuff. Their intro starts out with like 5 F-bombs. And I listened to, in 17 minutes, I heard 23 F-bombs. And I just couldn't get through the rest. And the show was an hour and 45 minutes long. And I was just like,
oh.
So I reported back to the other board members and to the chairman, and I said, I can't give you a good review on this because I can't listen to an entire episode. I can't get past the content.
I think that's a great review.
It was terrible. And there'll be a certain segment that won't even notice, like you said, that it's just so common to them, and that's the way they talk. But for a fogey like me, and when your target demographic is probably older than 22, 23, 24, there's going to be a certain percentage of the people who listen who are going to be put off by that. And I just couldn't, not only could I not listen to it, but I couldn't say, yeah, that's great. Let's put our trademark on that and sanction it. So
sounds
put
like
my
their
name on
target.
it.
Sounds like their target audience was the Marines. Nothing
That's
against
very
the
possible.
Marines, but
very possible. That or the Navy. Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, I was Army, and we never cursed.
Not ever. Not if the colonel's wife was there. Never.
Oh no!
I knew a jarhead who beat up some guys because they were cursing on the bus he was on because there were women on it, and he was he was in the Marines before there were a lot of women, and you don't cuss around women. Women cussing still freaks me out.
Yeah, that's a little jarring. Yeah, I agree. I was raised a certain way, and that was one of the things you simply did not do. You held the door for women. You treated them with the utmost respect. You absolutely never cursed around them. And
now,
so, go ahead.
I know they curse when we're not around.
I'm sure.
In the house with my aunt,
usually about us.
And they didn't know I was there, and I couldn't get out the window fast enough because they also talk about things that I didn't want to know about. And really, and as an adult, I've been in the backseat in a car filled with women who ignored me and just kept on with whatever they were talking about, and I didn't want to be there either.
Can you let me out?
Generally, when we're around each other, we behave. Not so much anymore.
Yeah, it's a sad state of our culture at the moment. That's kind of a thing you're an old fogey if you think that way. You're square. You're not cool if you think that way. I mean, think about the way they treated Mike Pence when he talked about how he wouldn't have lunch or dinner. He wouldn't go out and meet another woman who wasn't his wife and sit down alone and have a meal with them. And the whole world had a meltdown.
We wouldn't be where we are.
Yeah, that's true.
Have you ever seen pictures of Keanu Reeves posing with fans?
Yes.
If you look, he doesn't touch the women. He'll put his arm around a woman and never touch her. I don't know why.
He seems like a pretty genuine guy. Nothing like the guy that trains him for the John Wick stuff. Nothing like Taron Butler.
Well, the Machado brothers.
I think the most. Go ahead.
The Machado brothers who train him in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've never seen a video with them cussing. They also speak Portuguese, so maybe they are.
Maybe they are, and you just don't know. That's true.
I was going to say, I think the most heartwarming story about Keanu Reeves, since we brought him up, is he was on a flight to Los Angeles that had a stopover in Vegas. The flight got canceled. He rented a van or chartered a bus or something. I can't remember exactly what, to take all the people that wanted to go with him to Los Angeles, and he bought them lunch and everything. And it's just
cool.
He's a pretty classy guy.
Yeah.
Yep. Seems like he's one of the few who hasn't been completely tainted by fame. Yeah, compromised. That's the perfect word.
Not a pretentious D-bag, as so many in Hollywood are.
Right. Yeah, the world is about to end if Keanu Reeves gets up and makes some kind of political statement. That would be the end of it. Before we
make a common sense statement today, that would be taken as a political statement.
It really would.
It's painful. I got called a racist on Facebook.
Oh, awesome. You racist.
I made a joke. I said something, the Chinese Kung Flu. And I was immediately called a racist. It was hilarious.
See, that's why I call it the Chi-Com cough, because then you're denigrating communists.
My son loves that one. My wife likes the Kung Flu. I like the Wu Flu. I recall originally the PRC called it the Wuhan pneumonia.
That's a
Well,
mouthful.
Since
Well,
all this BLM stuff has started, I've had my black friends giving me the best old white cracker guy jokes that I have ever heard in my life.
All right. So what have you guys? But really quick, let's kind of as we wrap things up here. What have you guys done, shooting wise, gun wise? Anything since the Wuhan flu killed every possible match and opportunity to get out and shoot? I have not been to a match, and like I said earlier, I haven't been to the range once in 8 months. What have you guys been? What have you guys been up to?
I shot trap for the first time in a year. Something that I don't do often enough, but which is a shame because I can shoot in my own backyard. But when your thrower is the old kind where you got to load one in and you got to pull the string and then try to shoot it, well, it just doesn't work out that well.
No.
But now that my kids are older, I got to have them pulling the string. That would work out just fine.
There you go.
Very cool. Hey, Luke is still with us, and he said he shot a Steel Challenge match.
Nice.
I have not shot Steel Challenge or trap, and I would actually like to try that. I don't have the shotgun. Do I have a shotgun that would work for trap? No, I don't. I don't have
a shotgun. It'll work.
Yeah,
any shotgun will work.
As long as it's not like the 18.5-inch police barrel on a Remington 870. If it's a regular pump action shotgun, most trap clubs, they shoot singles because frankly, there's not a lot of skill out there for guys who shoot doubles. It's hard to find a doubles club that shoots doubles matches. So if you've got a Remington 870 or a Mossberg or whatever, any pump action shotgun will work as long as it's got a long enough barrel.
Yep.
Go with a modified or improved modified choke, and you'll be fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, like I said, I've got a match in a week, and I haven't pulled the trigger except for just like testing out, doing a little dry fire. Not even a lot of dry fire. So now that I've got my gun back and I've got my little training barrel, I'm gonna see if I can't get out and do a little dry fire and prep for that, so I don't make a fool of myself.
That's important.
That is very important. I'm definitely not going to be videotaping that. Well, maybe I will, just for funsies and laugh at myself. All right. So thank you guys for taking, this has been fun. And I'm sorry it's taken so long for us to get back together, and I'll make sure that we have a September one as well. And I hope you guys will be there for that.
I had a hard time finding it.
Did you? Okay.
It's the YouTube link and it said private video. And when I hit the Facebook link, it went to the page, but there was nothing there to get me here. Strangely, when I did that from Patreon on my phone, it sent me here, and then I started looking up the URL, and I got it on my laptop.
Facebook's made some recent changes that are goofing a lot of things up.
Gotcha.
The only way I was able to get to it was from the link that you sent to me in the private message.
Okay.
And when I went to the StreamYard link that was in the email,
right,
it was asking me to log in.
Oh, fantastic! That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so got some technology stuff to figure out before the next one.
If you send out an email in the like the same kind of link format that you sent in the private message, then it should work for others.
Yeah. Okay. I'll figure out. The YouTube thing has never quite worked right, and I've been trying to get that working because we do have probably a dozen members who don't use Facebook at all. And so if I can figure that out, that would be nice. And Facebook is another thing that that drives me crazy with all their snooping. And that before we go, I want to mention that. Have you seen there is a setting on your phone, something about off Facebook activity?
Yes, I did that about a year ago.
I found out that if you go to your settings on your phone, go to the app in private settings and privacy, and you go look for off Facebook activity, and you will see just how much Facebook is tracking your information everywhere. It's absolutely amazing. And so I turned it off. It is, but they know what bank you're connecting to. They know what credit card companies you're connecting to. They know where your cell phone service. They know. It's really kind of scary and
creepy.
Yes,
Big Brother.
It really is. There's like 1,500 different things I found on the phone that in that listing, and you can turn it off. And within a day, I got an email from a company I'd never heard of before saying, "We noticed your Facebook is disconnected." And it's a company called IFTT. Look it up, IFTT.com. And they, I think, are sort of like the gateway that tracks all of your stuff and funnels it to Facebook. And so if you wondered, why is it that I go look at something, on Amazon and suddenly I talk about something in a tweet and suddenly I'm getting ad suggestions on Facebook, that's where it's coming from. So
the scary part is not just Facebook. When you go to a website, like I go to Instapundit, and there's stuff that I looked up somewhere else, not even on Amazon.
I was just looking at that.
Yes.
And it pops up.
Mm-hmm.
There is a add-on. You'd have to use the Firefox browser. I haven't used it yet, and I'm going to start using it. But there is an add-on called Facebook Container that keeps all your Facebook communications completely contained so that it doesn't receive data from any outside sources whatsoever.
Yep.
Oh,
it
wow.
works. It's wonderful.
Oh, you use it?
Oh yeah, I've been using it for a while.
I'm going to start
cool.
using that then.
Yep. It's slick.
I've tried to get away from Chrome, and I've been using Brave.
Yep, that's what I use, yeah.
And I like the way that there are some websites that it just totally kills, unfortunately, but you can turn the settings off and unlock them. But I like the fact that it blocks all of that stuff and prevents a lot of that from being collected and sent out, which is pretty cool. And so DuckDuckGo is my browser or my search engine, and and Brave or Vivaldi as your browser or Firefox, and say no to Chrome.
That's right.
All right,
which
guys.
is interesting because Brave uses the Chrome engine, so all Chrome plugins work with Brave. But Brave was developed by the guy that was kicked out of
Firefox.
Mozilla for coming out in favor of traditional marriage.
Yep. Yeah. They found out he donated to Prop 8 there in California.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like 10 years ago, and they were like, "Oh, we can't have this person running the company."
Even though he was a CEO.
Yeah, I know. It's like, you own the place, you're running the place, so yeah, get out. And he started his own. So that's pretty cool, but that's one of the reasons I don't use Firefox. But at the same time, they have some pretty cool privacy features that I like.
Right.
All right. I think that's going to do it. I've got to drive home.
Well, safe travels.
It's not far, fortunately. And I will be imbibing and partaking. It's Friday night, and it's been a heck of a week. So
that's more fun when you can go home and do it with your wife.
This is true. So, to thank you all for joining us and being a part of it, and for your continued support. I know it's been Hang on. We got to say hi to Edwin. Edwin just showed up and is here a little late. Edwin, thank you for joining in, and sorry you got here a little bit late. And we'll plan to get back together next month and continue or get back to doing the regular monthly thing. And Edwin and anyone else and Luke, be sure if you missed any of tonight, it'll be available on YouTube later this week. And thank you guys. I really do appreciate your continued support, and I appreciate you taking the time to do this at this late hour and sticking around for just hanging around and yakking. It's been fun.
Yes, it has.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Have a good night, all, and thanks for watching.
Thank you.
See you
Blessings
guys.
to you all. Yep. Bye-bye.